So, we have been discussing how Pi was searching for water. It has been so long that Jan Martel prolonged the scene of getting water. In the beginning, we saw that he was so thirsty, he was searching for water. And we see only he gets water in the end of his writing. Okay. So, that is what we are going to discuss now. I had my first ambiguous. What do you mean by ambiguous? Which means unambiguous. What do you mean by unambiguous? Means clear. What is clear here? Actually, he was searching for water, okay, under the tarpaulin where Richard Parker was there. Now, while he was searching for water, he came to know that there were orange color tools were there. So, what were they? They were life jackets and other life equipments. So, everything was there in orange. So, now when he saw some stripes in orange, he decided that it may be the Richard Parker who is staying underneath the tarpaulin sheet. And actually, he mistakenly decided that it is Richard Parker, but actually it was not Richard Parker, it was only the life jackets which were in orange. Then what happened next? So, then he continues his search for water. When he was searching for water, he saw a glimpse of Richard Parker. Now only the real Bengal tiger is seen, not previously. In previously, if you have seen, Richard Parker was mistakenly found that, but it was only life jacket which was found earlier. Okay, but now it is real that only the Richard Parker was seen. Where he was seen? Lying flat on his stomach 2 feet beneath. So, he was standing on the tarpaulin above Richard Parker, which is 2 feet beneath. So, what was Richard Parker was doing? He was lying flat on his stomach. So, what he prays to God? God preserve me, he prays to God. Okay. He asked God to preserve him. Preserve him from what? Preserve him from Richard Parker, who is a dangerous animal. Okay. So, he asked God, God please preserve me. Preserve means save me. Okay. He keeps a prayer to God, please save me from this Richard Parker. And no supplication. There were no supplication at all. Okay. So, what do you mean by supplication? A humble request or prayer. Okay. So, he was continually saying, God preserve me. I lay motionless. So, since he saw Richard Parker, Bengal tiger, the very dangerous animal in front of him, beneath him 2 feet, he laid motionless. What do you mean by motionless? Motionless means not moving anywhere, just stood in a position where he was. Have water, I pulled on the lid. So, now he was searching, continuously searching for water, and he found a tin or can, okay, can of water, and he pulled on the lid. He took the lid and he pulled that particular can. What was there? The joy was overwhelming him. Okay. What was the joy, the happiness when he saw the water can? It was a mixture of hope, surprise, disbelief, thrill, gratitude, all crushed into one, he says. So, what he says, the joy is a mixture of everything. What is a joy? Why there is a joy? Why there is a joy? Because Pi found water now. Okay. Now, that particular joy is a mixture of all. Hope, okay, surprise, disbelief. What do you mean by disbelief here? Why he says disbelief? It is believed that there is nothing is there in the lifeboat to be alive. But now that is the disbelief. It became disbelief that there is a water is found underneath. Thrill. It is a very thrill movement. Why it is thrill movement? Because Bengal tiger is there under him, and it was very dangerous animal. Okay, but he has to find water. Okay, that was a thrilling movement, he says. Next is gratitude. Gratitude means what? Thanksgiving. He thanks God that he found water. So, the particular happiness, the joy is a mixture of hope, surprise, disbelief, thrill and gratitude. So, all crushed into one, all mixed into one, he says. It is unequaled. This particular happiness and joy is unequal to what? Any Christmas celebrated in a year. Birthday celebration or wedding or Diwali, gift giving. Usually we child or any adult, okay, they want to have a gifts from others, maybe on their birthday or wedding or Diwali or Christmas, any day, okay. They may be happy and celebrating the day like anything. So he compares that particular day. Which particular day? The day of finding water. When he found the water and he is going to drink particular water, it is unequal. It is not equal to the day of Christmas or birthday or wedding or Deepavali, where they may gift and give gift. Okay, that is not equal. That means he says it was the happiest day in his life, he says. That is nothing is equal to birthday or Christmas or wedding celebration. That particular happiness makes him giddy. What do you mean by giddy? A giddy is a kind of a motion. Okay, when you feel your sugar is low or hyper, or when you have low BP, okay, or when you get a sudden shock. Okay, so you will get a particular giddy feeling, okay, like a sleepy, dizzy, you say. So that happiness makes me giddy, he says. So my eyes fell upon what I looking for. So I was looking for the water and I found it, he says. My eyes fell upon the water which I was looking for a long time. In which form you found the water? In a bottle, a tin can or a carton. Okay. So he gives a disposal box. What do you mean by carton? Carton means disposal box. So he found water in tin shape. So now he was looking for water, and finally he found in a tin form or carton form or bottle form. Okay. That doesn't equal to the celebration of Christmas, birthday or wedding or Deepavali, any gift giving event which is more happy, the happiest day in his life, he says. Next, the water is, how is the water? The water packaged drinking water, said the vintage label in black letters, HP Foods Limited. Now there is a tin water is found, the water is packed, okay. It is written on the tin or can, drinking water, okay. It is written. It is said by whom? The vintage label in a black letters. What is this vintage? Okay. Usually vintage means wine, okay. A company which produce wine, it is called vintage. Now what he says, a label which is on the tin written drinking water, and how it is written? The label was in black letters, very big letters, in black letters it was written. And who produced this and who packed this particular water can? HP Foods Limited packed this particular water. And what is the quantity? 500 milliliter. The contents, okay, it is half liter, he says. The bottle, the can contains half liter of water, and there were too many to count at glance. There were not only one water can is found, there were many, too many, he says. Okay, too many means what? It is uncountable. There is so many water cans were there at a glance. Glance means look. So now he found the water, and on the tin can it was written drinking water. Okay, the letters were in black letters, and it was written by whom? In the water, in the tin, there were half liter of water was there, and it was packed by HP Foods Limited. And we came to know that there were many cans were there. That's why he says too many to count at glance. Glance means look. When Pi looked at the water cans, there were too many, and the content, the quantity of the water is half liter. Now I picked one, it cool. So I found it. When I glanced at the water can, I reached the water can, and I picked one. I picked one can, and when I touched the can, it was so cool. It was so chill. That was the feeling of Pi, he says. And when he took the can, it was so heavy. The half liter can was so heavy. The bubble of air, when he tried to open, okay, the bubble of air come out. Okay, the bubble of air came out from the can. And what is the thirst? He says his thirst was like a hellish thirst, he says. What do you mean by hell? You know it. Hell or heaven. In heaven you will have all the things, all the comforts in heaven. But in hell you have to suffer. Now he is suffering from what? Thirst. He did not have water to drink. Okay. Finally he found the water, and when he touched the water, it was so cool and heavy, and bubble of air came out from the can. Now it was ready to drink. Before he says it was ready to drink, there was a struggle to open the can. Okay. Now I have to drink or I would die. Only one option, drink water or die. That's why he says I have to drink water or I would die, he says. No time for useless distress. What is this distress? Distress means hopeless. Okay, thinking of the past, what had happened, or thinking about the sufferings, that is called distress and hopeless state. Now he says I have no time to think about all these distress things. Okay, I had to drink only water, otherwise I cannot live, he says. Now what he has to do? Action is needed, not the words. I have to take the bottle and I have to drink water. I have to do it in action, not in words. So now he is in a situation that he has to drink water, otherwise he will not live. So what he says, I prize. What do you mean by prize? So prize means force with a lever. Okay, to open a tin you have to use a lever. Okay, so what he was doing, to open this water can you need a lever. Okay, that is why he says open force with the lever is called prize. Now there is no lever, okay, to open this water. Now he is thinking how to open this water can. Whether shall I open with my fingernails? I tried, I couldn't, he says. Then what shall I do? I open with my fingernails, I couldn't open. Next he is trying with my teeth. So he is trying to open the tin with his teeth. That also failed. So now the water is found, he had to drink, otherwise he will die. There is no time for useless distress. There is no time for thinking about the hopeless things. He only has to do in action. The action is open the can. So there is no lever, he has to open the water can. So what he says, let me open with the fingernails, but he tried, he couldn't. Next he tries with the teeth, that also failed. Next he saw the tarpaulin hooks. Okay, hooks. He saw a tarpaulin, and in the edge of the tarpaulin there is a hook he is hanging. So how was the hooks? It was so short, it was blunt and solid. What is short? Very little in size. Blunt means what? Blunt means not sharp. So the hook was not sharp, it was very short and solid, very strong. Okay. Now what is does? Holding the can with my hands. Okay. So he held the can with both the hands, and against the hook he put the hook and pushed with his both hands. Now what happens? A pearl of water appeared. See how beautifully he describes the water which came in a bubble. The bubble he describes as a pearl, that is a pearl of water, he says. Okay. So what did he do? I licked off the gurgling beat of my greedy throat, he says. What do you mean by gurgling? Gurgling means a kind of sound when water is drunk fast. So when you drink water fast, there is a kind of a sound, gurgling sound is comes out of your throat. So when water came out, the bubbles looked like a pearl of water, and he just licked off, and the gurgling beat of my greedy throat. Why he says greedy throat? Because his throat was so dry for long days, he did not drink water. Now the throat needs water, and the water is, how is the water? Crystalline water, he says. What in crystalline means? Very clear, crystal clear, he says. So that crystalline water flowed into his throat, and he says that particular expression, I went means I made the water to go into my stream, he says. So his stomach he explains as a stream, and he says, what a feeling it is. When you drink this chill water and when it goes into your stomach, he feels so pleasurable situation. Tossed the can overboard and got another. So what happened? Now you drank the first one. Next he threw. Tossed means what? Throwing away. So throwing away the can in a overboard and got another. Now he got another water can. Okay. Now what happened? Let us see. I drank 4 cans. So now how many cans he has drunk? He has drunk 4 cans. So the 4 cans contains how many liters? 2 liters of nectar, he says. See how beautifully he explains. Now water looks for him like a nectar. Nectar means you know it, very sweet thing. Okay. So now he has drunk 4 cans. 4 cans of water, and that contains 2 liters of water, and he does not say water, but he says nectar. Nectar means honey. That particular honey, when he drank that honey of water, there is expressing joy. There is a joy, there is a feeling of happiness in him, and sense of well-being. So what do you mean by well-being? Well-being means being good in healthy wise. Okay, having a good health is called well-being. For almost 3 days he did not drink water. So I drank 4 cans, he says. Okay. So now almost he drank 4 cans one after the other, and he feels it was like a nectar and the expression of joy. And how it was? It was expression of joy, the happiness, sense of well-being, he says. What do you mean by well-being? Well-being means having good health without any problems. For almost he has not drank water for 3 or 2 days. Okay, his throat was so dry. And when he drank this nectar, 2 liters of nectar, water, he felt a sense of well-being, having a good health, he feels. My skin relaxed. Okay, so his skin was so dried. Okay, so now his skin is relaxed in manner, and his heartbeat, he explains his organs feeling when he drank that particular water. My heart beat like a merry drum, he says. What do you mean by merry? Merry means happy, joy. So when you have a happy situation, when you have a very joyful situation, you beat drums, isn't it? Okay, for wedding celebration, for other functions, you beat drums. So he compares that particular merry drums to his heart. He says that his heart beat beats like a merry drum, which means his heart is so happy when he drank water. Now he compares blood. So, blood looks like a car, he says. Which car? Wedding party. Like when they use in a wedding party cars, okay, very decorated and decorated in a beautiful manner, in grand manner, and having a celebration, they use this car. So, when this particular water went into his blood veins, okay, it moved like a car, he says. Which car? The car which we used in wedding party. My head. So, how is his head? His head was clearer now. Now, what he is explaining is his physical parts are relaxed now, he says. What are the physical parts he is explaining? Skin, heart and blood, and one more thing is my head, which is head, his head. One is skin, next heart, next blood and next is head. So, skin is relaxed now and his heart beats are like a merry drum, and it blood, when the water mixed into the blood veins, it moved like cars which are used in wedding parties in grand manner. And now his head is very clear. Why he says in clear? Because when you don't drink water for a long time, you may have headache, very severe headache you will have. So, that is why he says his head is clear now. Okay. Now he feels a sense of well-being. I had a water rations 124 days, he says. So, what is this water rations? So, already we know that there were too many water cans in the lifeboat, and now he says those water cans will be useful for me for 124 days, he says. Richard Parker calmed me down. Okay. So, I was calmed by the situation, okay, where I have to drink water, otherwise I will die. Okay. So, that was the situation where Pi was there, and when you see it, Richard Parker calmed me down. So, it was Richard Parker who calmed me down, he says. Okay. He says it is the irony of this story. What is the irony of this story? That is, the one who scared me witless to start with was the very same who brought me peace, purpose, wholeness, he says. It is irony, he says. What do you mean by irony? Irony means sarcasm. Okay. Sarcasm means what? The situation I may be telling you the false thing, okay, which is truth. Okay. It will be opposite to the thing what I say. Now, what is the irony of the story? The Richard Parker has to kill Pi, but that did not happen. Actually, one scared me. The situation was Richard Parker scared me first, but actually what happened? Richard Parker only brought peace to him, purpose and wholeness, he says. See, what is the comparison is, what is the irony is, Richard Parker has to bring fear to the person, but actually what happened here? Richard Parker brought peace, he says. Purpose, he feels that there is a purpose in life. So, Richard Parker brought purpose in my life, and wholeness to my life, he feels. I had to tame him, he says. What is this tame? No longer wild, making animal or any animal, making when you put your hands on its head and just move on the head, it becomes so soft. It does not become wild. So, tame means no longer wild. Who is no longer wild? Richard Parker is no longer wild now. I tell you a secret, he says. What is the secret he is going to tell? A part of me not want Richard Parker to die at all. So, what is the secret he says? Actually, there were only two persons on the lifeboat. One is Richard Parker and Pi. So, Richard Parker is very dangerous animal that had to kill Pi and live. That was a real situation which had to happen. But actually what happened? It was in reverse. Okay. Pi made Richard Parker, trained Richard Parker to be calm in a situation, how to eat food, and everything was taught by Pi to Richard Parker. Okay. So, that is the reason he says there is one secret in me, that is part of me, that may be consciousness maybe. So part of me told me, don't kill Richard Parker. So that is the thing he wants from him. Okay, so it is very irony of the story. What is the irony? The Richard Parker has to kill, has to bring fear to the people, but what happened? It was in reverse, that it brought happiness to Pi. Okay, so that's why he says there is a secret. There is a secret. What is the secret here? That I don't want to kill or Richard Parker to die at all, he says. If he died, I would be left alone with despair. There is one more comparison, he says. What happens if Richard Parker is killed by me? What will happen? I left alone. If he died, I would be left alone with despair. Despair means hopelessness. So when he is in hopelessness state, what will happen when he is alone? Another foe may be there. Foe means enemy, more formidable than a tiger. Since tiger was on the lifeboat, nobody touched me, he says. So you can remember there were Aina was there. Okay, Aina did not touch Pi because Aina was afraid of tiger. Okay, no other animal touched Pi because the Bengal tiger Richard Parker was on lifeboat. So what he says, if Richard Parker died, what will happen? I would be left alone with despair, and more dangerous than this tiger may come and kill me, he says. So in the next line he says, thanks to Richard Parker. Why he gives thanks to Richard Parker? Because it kept me thinking too much about my family. So he says, Richard Parker made me always to think about my family. So Richard Parker made me in each and every thought to have my family in my mind. So I made myself to be alive on the lifeboat, and I trained Richard Parker not to kill me, he says. And next, the truth, he says. What is the truth? The truth is, I wouldn't be alive today. The truth is, if Richard Parker does not alive or died, I also may be killed by somebody. Today I am alive because it is because of Richard Parker, he says. That's why he says, I wouldn't be alive today. Today I wouldn't be alive if Richard Parker is not there, he says. Now what happened? We have come to the end of the story. What is the end of the story? Now he has got water to drink. Now almost 124 days are over, and we came to know that he survived in the lifeboat for 227 days. He survived, we have seen. Now it is the 227th day, the last day of his journey. Now what happened? Now they reached a jungle. Okay, I left Richard Parker in a jungle and waited for a ship. Now their boat reached to a jungle and waited for a ship. Okay, who waited? Pi waited for a ship. But actually what happened? Richard Parker jumped out of the lifeboat and entered into the jungle. Okay, but it did not look back. How saddest thing it is. Now you see, it pained me to see the animal without even turning his head to have a last glimpse, he says. Not even the animal looked back. I saved the Richard Parker, I provided food and trained Richard Parker, and I made Richard Parker to survive for long these 227 days. But when we reached the place, when I reached the jungle, it just jumped and entered into the jungle, not even it looked back. It pained me to see the animal without even turning his head to have a last glimpse. Glimpse means look, last look. And in the end he says, a ship did find me. So finally what happened? Richard Parker entered into the jungle. Okay, now a ship came. Okay, the ship found him. And he says, I am now reunited with my family. So now I am reunited means rejoined with my family, he says. See how saddest thing, for 227 days he was with Richard Parker. And Richard Parker not even had a look back this spy. But actually what can we do? Because it is animal, it is just an animal, it is the nature of animal. Okay, it does not have any emotional or feelings. Okay, we humans, we have feelings. Okay, so now what happened? So you can now understand how difficult it is to live without food and water. Now in this lesson, the more concentration is given to water thirst. That's why it is compared to Jesus' thirst. Okay, so now we have come to the conclusion that Richard Parker entered into the jungle and Pi reunited with his family. Okay, so I hope you have understood the lesson. I made you to understand this lesson with the emotional and all kinds of feelings, I hope. Okay, we will meet in the next class.